Hello, everybody. Welcome to Troglodyte Horror and Cult Film Review. I am Loki Jesse, and we are here at Dos Laredos Park by the Rio Grande River because today's subject has to do with a body of water. Not this river, but it is steeped in Texas and Mexican folklore and culture. We're talking about La Llorona. And today's film is called Her Cry La Llorona Investigation. So stay tuned and let's review this film.
Hello? Okay, guys, stop.
So today's film, Her Cry La Llorona Investigation, it's about, well, it's a found footage film, let's just say about that. And found footage has been real popular since the Blair Witch Project and even before then. And I kind of been on a found footage tirade. Been watching a lot of found footage films here and there. And this I stumbled upon on Tubi. And well, let me give you a brief summary about the film. So the film begins with a college girl named Tina who's doing a sorority test. Her job, well, her task is to go to a campsite and a house where it has been shown that La for the La Llorona has been seen. She is supposed to first go to the house and then from the house walk to a clearing where there's a campsite where her sorority sisters have set up some task. She is supposed to wait until midnight and then scream out, Maria, Maria, I'm here to help you. Once he says that, something strange happens, and she's supposed to run to the house. When she gets to the house, her sorority sisters have set up a camera there, and she's supposed to use a Ouija board to summon Maria, who is La Llorona, in case I forgot to point that out there. But in most folklore and in the stories of
To go out of this tent and scream,
Llorona,
Maria, I want to help you
her
find
name
your
is
children,
Maria.
and then go into
So
that freaky house.
she's right there trying to do
Damn it,
the
really, you guys?
summons,
Bloody Mary
seance,
legend?
and crazy stuff starts happening. She starts cursing at her sorority sisters at the camera and on her phone because she is supposed to record this to show that she's going through the task. As she does this, the camera falls down and something pushes her back to the wall, lifts her up, drags her down, and then drags her away from the camera. The film cuts, and then we are fast forward where we get to the next set of the story. Okay, so Act Two of the film takes place a few years later, where we are introduced to James Robinson and Brian, his producer. They have a web series called Paranormal Investigations, and they were hired by Tina's father to try to find and see what happened to her. So they go to the house along with their intern, Andrea, and they start experiencing weird stuff there. Also, unbeknownst to Andrea and Brian, Tina is supposedly in the house, that she's in the back room. She's not to be disturbed by the wishes of her father, but her father's never seen, and more stuff starts happening. While James and Brian are outside trying to do some investigations, Andrea is inside in the living room. She falls asleep, and then she somehow miraculously disappears and ends up in the bedroom where Tina's supposed to be. When Brian and James go back inside the house, they don't find Andrea. So then they rush to the room in the back. They find her there. They wake her up, and she wakes up screaming crazy, hysterically. And then she starts being annoying, trying to get out of the house. And I really can't describe it. I'm just going to show it to you. So here's a few seconds of Andrea getting all hysterical and crazy.
We're gonna find out where she's
One
going, where she's
girl,
walking
one girl.
to.
She's not normal. I don't think that you guys understand or comprehend this. She's not sick. She's not a person.
I know, Andrea.
She's not a person. How the hell did I just end up in that fucking room?
That's what we're trying
Alright,
to
calm
No,
down.
I-
Just relax.
Unless if you guys want to end up in that room and have the same bullshit that happened to me.
Alright, you're gonna stick with us from here on out. You're gonna stick
We're
with
not
us.
gonna leave you alone.
Nothing's gonna
Okay,
happen
none
to
of us,
you. Okay?
none of us are gonna leave any of us
James,
alone.
we gotta go
okay?
and get her. We gotta go and.
Okay, look.
We don't have to get her. We can just leave her be and let her go and follow what
Guys,
everybody
guys.
says.
What? It's evidence.
No, it's not evidence. It's a piece of shit evidence. You know that fucking bitch let us out here, and you're gonna go ahead and pick that shit up and bring it in here, aren't you?
It's part of the investigation, Andrea.
No. The investigation is videotaping that shit and leaving it there. That is part of the investigation. That is part of a fucking investigation. That is part of, you videotape it, you see it, okay, we got that fucking there, it's covered, it's proof, let's go.
Yeah, that goes on for a while now. I mean, it really starts to get annoying afterwards because she becomes this like, well, I understand that she's frightened, but she really becomes really like, I wouldn't say ghetto, but really like street, talking, getting out, all this stuff, cursing, all this crazy shit. So then they decide to go to this grave site that's by the house, which it's a terrible grave site. It's really like they it's like wasn't even in the budget to make the grave site any better. And they don't even dig that far. They find like a doll, and Andrea's saying put it back, but James doesn't put it back. He just like teases the spirits of Maria and the children. And then when they go back to the house and they try to sleep, then more stuff starts happening. Things start falling down, doors start shutting, opening and closing, cabinets
know
shut.
what those
There's
are.
a knock
No,
on the
I know
door,
what those are.
and when they open the door, there's a
What do you
doll.
think they are?
They
They're
don't
her
tell
fucking
Andrea because
children's
he's gonna
graves.
freak out, and we're gonna get more of
I
this.
heard the voice telling me. The investigation is videotaping that shit and leaving it there. We need to leave. That is part of the investigation. That is part of a fucking
favorite toy.
investigation.
So don't touch it. If you touch it and you bring it, you even touch it, they're gonna fucking get pissed off.
Right.
So after that night,
But I think that's
after
enough.
one night in the house, James decides
just
to
take
go in
that
town
inside or
and try
whatever.
to get
We
some
shouldn't
supplies, and also try to contact this priest who they interviewed a few years ago when they were originally doing the subject of Tina's disappearance. When he gets back from town, the priest comes later and starts talking about doing a seance and stuff. And then he starts attacking Andrea and saying that she's the channel and they have to get rid of her and all this stuff. They stop him from killing her and then they throw him out. And then they decide to do a seance later, and that's where shit really gets real and crazy. When that happens, Andrea gets completely possessed by the spirit of Maria. And James and Brian starts running. Brian is hurt. They're trying to get out, but James is like, no, we have to get the tapes because we need the tapes. If not, people will think this is real or something. So they go back inside the house to get the tapes, but then they're being chased by Andrea, who's possessed by Mania, and they go by the river that's around that area, and all of a sudden James does a plot twist. He ends up killing Brian out of nowhere, or unaliving. I can't gotta remember, this is YouTube, can't say kill. So he says that Maria is requiring blood, so he ends up unaliving Brian, and then he starts to try to drag the body. And as he's starting to drag the body, he sees a possessed Andrea in the distance, asking her if she can help him, but she doesn't listen to him. And then out of nowhere, a woman in a white shows up and starts dragging James into the river, and then James disappears, and then Andrea comes in, and then she drags Brian off the camera. And then the film ends with a couple that are doing another challenge for, I don't know if it's just like, if they're doing it on a dare or they're just curious, but the girlfriend kind of looks menacingly in the camera, and that's where the film ends.
Brian. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God.
All right, so the film is very DIY, low budget indie film, found footage style, and it started off promising with Tina, the sorority girl, and all these things, but then it started kind of going downhill, and it was going dragging a bit, and some parts were too long, especially the part where Andrea is going crazy and annoying. James comes off as very unlikable. He is up to something, but we don't know. He's very menacing, and Brian is just like the dope who's, trying to help his friend, but it's just like he literally just ends up getting unalived in this film. Originally, when I recorded this review, I made a comment that the Yolona didn't show up in white. And that was because when I first saw this film, I was sort of falling asleep. So I wasn't really paying attention. I was fighting sleep, but also trying to stay awake. However, after rewatching the film, she does show up and she is dressed in white. So that was a mistake on my end, and that early footage probably won't see the light of day. But however, this film, it's not really that good. It's not a terrible film. It's a good watch if you're gonna see it with your buddies and have like a drinking party and take shots every time Andrea freaks out or something. This is more of a group film than a solo watch, because if you watch this film solo, you're gonna end up falling asleep like I did. So it's better to watch this film with a group of friends and just riff on it and have some fun. Some trivia about this film. So this film came out in 2013, and it was under the title, which is what I found it under, Her Cry La Llorona Investigation. However, back in 2019, this film was re-released again under a different title with a different movie poster, and it was titled La Llorona Curse, and that was made to cash in on the James Wan film, The Curse of La Llorona. Yeah, people that were looking to watch the James Wan film ended up seeing this one, and vice versa. I don't know if people really wanted to see this. This is like kind of like I saw this film sometime last year, and I saw it under that title, the Yolona Curse. And when I saw it under Her Cry, Yolona Investigations, I'm like, oh wow, this is interesting. But then as I started watching the film, it started to look familiar to me, and then I realized that it's the same film. They just put it under a different title. So this film was also done in around the Houston area. Some scenes were filmed outside of Houston, and some scenes were filmed further outside of Houston. But this was basically a Houston project, and you know I gotta give it up to the filmmakers and the actors and actresses that portrayed their parts. I mean, they had to work with what was given to them, and they did the best that they could. I mean, I'm not just saying that because of budget restraints or anything. I mean, like, they had to do what they had to do, but it's not really a good film. Not something you should really go out of your way to watch. Again, unless you're with a group of friends, then you could go ahead and watch this film. So this film, I decided to give the ratings up to 5, and I decided to rate it in crying women. So out of 5 crying women, I only give this film a 1 crying woman, because damn, it wasn't really that good. Like I said, I watched it. I was watching it to fall asleep, and it did its job and made me fall asleep. So this is not a good film to watch by yourself unless you want to try to fall asleep. And the scares doesn't really have that many scares in it. The acting is par. It's okay. The story was interesting, but wasn't. I mean, one thing that I did forget to add into the review was they tried to bring in the Salem witch trials into this film. how a coven of witches in the Houston area were conjuring up La Llorona. But it really doesn't work. At least in my opinion, it didn't really work. So, do I recommend this film? No, I don't recommend this film. Unless you're with a group of friends and you want to have a good laugh and riff on this, then go for it. But I would not go out of my way to watch this film. All right, with that being said, I'm going to bring this video to a close. Please be sure to join the Patreon or like, share, subscribe, comment, discuss this film in the bottom, leave your thoughts on it. If you've seen this film, if you have seen it, what do you think? Do you recommend this film? Do you agree with me that this is more like of a group film to watch with your friends or not with your friends? Is this a good film to fall asleep on? Or did you enjoy this film? Tell me, why do you enjoy this film? Leave it in the comments and we'll discuss. Thank you everybody for watching. And remember to always keep on shining. Good night, everybody. Wait, what's that? Well, that's the train, but I think I heard something. No, there's nothing there. All right, bye.
That is part of, you videotape it, you see it, okay, we got that fucking there, it's covered, it's proof.